Now, woke ideology has put the future of women's sport under threat after American college swimmer Lia Thomas became the first transgender woman to win a national championship. After living for 20 years as a man, Thomas has obvious physical advantages from going through male puberty, such as greater upper body strength and muscle mass, it goes without saying. And by benefiting from these unfair advantages, she has gone from the wilderness of men swimming with a ranking outside the NCAA top 500 to competing as a trans woman and beating Emma Wayan, an Olympic medal winner. I put this ludicrous situation to Caitlyn Jenner, the world's most famous trans woman who won an Olympic gold medal while competing as Bruce, and she was adamant that biological men and women should compete separately.
I am firmly behind protecting women's sports. We cannot have biological boys competing against women in women's sports. It's bad for a couple of reasons. One, it's bad for the trans community. To be honest with you, this is terrible publicity for the trans community. Like, we're taking advantage of women, okay? And it's bad, obviously, for women's sports. We need a fair playing field. And right now, if we allow this, it's not a fair playing field.
Now, I should add that I don't blame Lia Thomas personally for using the rules to her advantage. Instead, I blame the sporting authorities for implementing a shamefully lax policy. As I said in a new column for the Mail Online today, with the International Olympic Committee refusing to adopt a hardline policy on trans athletes, there needs to be a popular uprising before we risk female athletes becoming forever marginalised and women's sport morphing into competition for subpar biological males. Even though she's not breaking any rules, Lia Thomas is already taking us down that slippery slope. Benjamin Butterworth, I put it to you that it's woke people like you who are actually causing women's sport to now become endangered, and it is shameful.
Well, I mean, I think that's a deeply unpleasant suggestion and not very fair. I mean, look, you
but it's true.
You call the people that support transgender people in your column for Mail Online politically correct monsters. I mean, that is the kind of language that is causing real harm.
Not
trans people
who support transgender
lives.
People, Benjamin Butterworth.
That's what you're
Do
saying.
not misquote me. People who support Lia Thomas taking the places of biologically female swimmers. That is very different than not supporting trans people in day-to-day life. Thank you very much.
Well, I'm afraid these debates lead to very real hatred and judgment of people that, you know, have no interest in being an athlete and are just trying to lead their lives and were born in a slightly different way to the vast majority of us. Now, what I'd say when it comes to the trans question is that a male to female, so a trans woman like Lia, there is obviously, as it's the case with this, there is a certain physical advantage, and that's indisputable. But also, you need to talk about blanket rules for trans people. Well, someone that's gone the other way is probably going to have an innate disadvantage in most cases. So let's not, you know, you say
yes,
trans.
You never see it. That's why you never see it. It's not an issue.
What I think is the answer is that people should be judged on their individual basis, on their height and their physical mass and ability. And then I think that is a much fairer way to do it, because there will be plenty of trans people, trans women, for whom they don't necessarily have a big advantage at all.
But, you know, Dan talked about before about the authorities. It absolutely is. The sporting authorities could stop this at an instant. The International Olympic Committee, they said, they were the one that tinkered with the rules originally, and they said that the trans women could compete. But what they said was they could compete if they had something called suppressed testosterone
Which was
treatment.
their first mistake.
No, hang on. So they said that was a rule, but then they relaxed on that. So now competitors don't have to have this suppressed testosterone treatment. And it's just, and I wonder, you say it's not Lia's fault. I kind of think this. Why would someone who, as a man, she was 554th in the world, so not very good, frankly, in the scheme of things. She suddenly goes
better than I would have done.
She goes from that to suddenly number one, and I wonder what joy there is in winning, what sense of achievement there is that she's only winning because she suddenly said, "I'm now living as a woman."
But hang on, she didn't transition just to win a medal.
Did she not? Do you know that for a fact?
Yeah, I would say that for a fact.
Well, she's done one year of hormone treatment, Esther. 1 year. And the fact is, 1 year of hormone treatment does not undo male puberty. And there's actually nothing that can undo that.
I feel this actually really works me up that we keep having this conversation. our language has been policed so much to the extent that we cannot say that Lia Thomas has all the advantages of a biological male, which this person does because biologically, Lia Thomas is a male.
Was born a male.
I don't even want to get into the politics of the language.
But as
whether
defined, and be scientific,
this
as
person's
defined
pronouns. I don't want to get into the
by the
politics of
XY
that.
chromosome.
Well, I think she still has male genitals.
Yes.
XY chromosomes. Don't even say male and female sports. Just say XX sports and XY sports.
Exactly.
And the reason why I'm even willing to take it to this basic level is because the fact that there is even debate around this, the fact that the Olympic Committee is saying, oh, but you must take these hormones, but then they ban drugs. They ban drugs for weightlifting and all these things. And I'm just thinking, what is the difference?
No,
if you're going to ban athletes for taking certain drugs, but you're happy for these athletes that are clearly have different biological makeup from the categories they want to compete in, to inject their bodies full of all these hormones, what is the difference? Then let everyone use steroids and everything and just let them get on with it.
But
There's no difference.
The good thing now is I think women are fighting back now.
Yes, they
I think women aren't going to have this. You know, they have it. You know, women have, they're fighting an uphill battle all the time, against rape, abuse, against male violence, and now they have this to contend with as well. But, I've read stories of late, women are refusing to use toilets with transgender women. They're refusing to go into change rooms. I'm sorry. Why is it horrible?
Tell me, how do you...
It is not a safe space.
Tell me, how...
Women are claiming back safe spaces.
How do you know?
Rightly.
How do you know?
Well, Benjamin Butterworth, the Daily Mail has actually interviewed Lia Thomas's teammates on the swimming team. And Lia Thomas, who, by the way, I'm told has gone through 2.5 years of hormone treatment. But they feel deeply uncomfortable now in their changing room because Lia Thomas retains male genitalia and remains attracted to women. And the teammates say that their safety has been shrugged off because of the woke mob. And to me, it's insanity. I know a lot about women's sport, actually. I'm a huge supporter of women's sport. I'm one of the official supporters of the London Pulse netball team. Go London Pulse. And you know what, Benjamin? You wouldn't know about anything that female athletes go through. Do you know how difficult it is as a female athlete when you have to factor in your menstrual cycle every month to competing? You would have no idea. And Lia Thomas doesn't need to worry about that. So before you start trying to degrade female athletes, why don't you actually think about what they have to go through and just for one damn moment put your ridiculous woke ideology to one side?
I mean, what a load of sort of cliched nonsense. Look, you talk about who she's attracted to. Look, I mean, you could by that.
That's not what he was talking about. It is
menstrual cycle.
Hang on, let me speak.
How do you explain?
Let me
reply.
Let me reply. You said her peers are upset because she's still attracted to women. Well, by that argument, you wouldn't be having any lesbian sportswomen, would you?
But that's not the point.
No, that's not what they're saying.
You've taken a very niche argument there.
Carol said women are fighting back against transgender women using their toilets. Well, how do you spot a transgender woman,
With all due respect, lesbians are not walking around with their schlongs hanging out
but you said
in the changing room.
It was your
seriously.
comment.
Oh, lesbians
I said I'd read those stories elsewhere. I don't know how they identified it.
How many lesbians do you know that walk around changing rooms with their penises hanging out?
Well, exactly, not many.
Look, I said at the start...
Final word, Benjamin.
That I think it should be more nuanced than whether they're trans or not. And there may be people, Lia Thomas may be an example where it's not appropriate. Okay. But this fuels...
I'm glad you've agreed. We're in agreement. Benjamin Butterworth, Carol Malone, Esther Kraku. Thank you.